What's going on, guys? Today I'm talking about two separate things. The first thing is my newfound love of the Follower's Sabre. Of all the curved swords, this is the one that doesn't look like, Garbo when you use it one-handed. Now, it's just as garbage as any other curved sword one-handed, but it looks cooler, so I like it. So I've been using it. It fits really well in line with my sword and board kind of playstyle. And it's kind of nice because, it's a curved sword. So the two-handed moveset is actually like a legitimate moveset. It's not, just some garbage bullshit. Whereas with the straight sword, if I'm using a sword and board build with a long sword or a straight sword, if I switch to two-handed, you think I'm immediately going for the weapon arts, because there's no reason to switch two-handed otherwise. With a curved sword, that's not the case. I can just be switching, going two-handed and getting advantage of that two-handed moveset. And then when I'm using the one-handed moveset, it's more to focus on the shield play as opposed to, the curved sword play. I guess the curved sword moveset. Now, like any other curved sword, the combo potential on this thing is insane. If you can land an R2 just by better spacing, if you can outspace an opponent and land an R2 with this or any other curved sword, you can immediately get a full weapon art off, which does a shit ton of damage. This guy's wearing the dragon skill ring. How crazy is that? Who wears that? It's the backstab ring. That guy's wearing it. Crazy. Anyway, people scoff a lot at curved sword R2s because in duels they're not useful. They're bad. There's no reason to go for one. You can just go for two R2s. Two R1s. In invasions, however, where there's other things you have to take into account as you're fighting a person, R2 becomes a viable move, and you can use it as an Estus Punish. But if you use it as an Estus Punish, beware, you're not going to get the full weapon art combo with a heavy curved sword like the Falchion, Karthus, or Follower Sabre. Still though, when you're fighting on top of the Hell in the Cell, that can come in handy because people have to pay attention to their surroundings. And if they don't, now on top of that, you're using a curved sword, so, you've got the greatest roll catch machine God ever created. It's just a thing of beauty. Anyway, I love the Follower Sabre. You're going to see me using that a lot. Here you can see I'm starting to fight off with Dark Drift as well. This thing is super handy, especially here, because it's got that innate bleed, and when you're fighting people around the maggots, that's just a super fantastic thing to have, is a weapon with a bleed auxiliary on it. Now this particular opponent, Keith Valentine, this dude is really good. My understanding is this dude used to be on the Game Facts ladder. He was one of those guys. Very good opponent. Super meta setup. So I went at him with the straight sword because I'm still getting used to the Follower Sabre, and the one-handed moveset is kind of in a one-on-one like this, where not too much is taking place as far as like the arena or the enemies in the level or other phantoms to worry about. Anyway, I went with the straight sword, went with the standard long sword. Here comes some blues, but there you can see it. Dark Spirit, praise, backstab, Jesus invaded. And this brings me to the second part of the video, and this is more the bulk of the video. How important it is to have a good teammate in invasions, and ways that you can be a good teammate in invasions, especially dried finger, obviously dried finger invasions, think post-pontiff, stuff like that. So here you can see Backstab Jesus, Project Goof. He is doing a fantastic job of keeping the host off of me so that I can just fight this blue. We are not interrupting each other at all. As a fellow invader, we understand, not just because, like we watch each other's content or whatever. There's a more primitive aspect here. As invaders, you have to respect the fact that your fellow invader has some knowledge of PvP. Here comes the exact same build that I just killed. What the fuck, blue spirits in the Earthfield Dungeon? Why? You have to respect that your opponent, has some level of understanding in Dark Souls PvP. So there's no reason to rush over here and kill the blues with me. There's no reason for me to rush over there and kill the host with him. We can just sort of hang out and take care of our own business. That way we're not hitting each other, because friendly fire is the worst part of invasions. These point downs are just little me being cheeky funny, because, you know, Keith was like in the stream. This was not like, you know, some random stranger. I mean, it is kind of a random stranger, but the point is he was on the stream that this was happening in. So these were not like serious point downs. It's just cheeky fun stuff. Anyway, we see you're staying out of each other's way. Goof did quite a bit of damage, and then I ran in because Goof was running out of stamina. But there's no reason for us to be swinging on top of each other, ever. How many times have you been in a Pontiff invasion? And this is the greatest thing of all time. How many times have you been involved in a Pontiff invasion, and your fellow invader that you're trying to chase down the host with ends up hitting you and making you back off, and you have to heal because your fellow invader is too busy hitting you instead of hitting the host? It happens a lot because hosts engage infinite roll mode anytime it's a 2v1 against them. Everybody knows this. So just don't engage. Take turns with the host. Look at your fellow invader. Look at your teammate. All right? You should have some idea of how much stamina they've got. You know, if they're swinging a claymore around, you know they've probably got 4 or 5 swings in them. If they're swinging an ultra greatsword around, you know they've probably got 3 or 4 swings in them. If they're swinging a straight sword, you know they've probably got like 8 or 9. Except just go on down the line. But the idea is that when they get low on stamina, that's when you come in. That's when you do the damage. You're keeping pressure up at all times, not applying infinite pressure all at once. Infinite pressure all at once, if it fails, then you're screwed. You're stuck, and you don't have any pressure to apply for, you know, a good solid 3 seconds, which is all the host needs to chug and hit a summon sign. So pressure one at a time, that sort of thing. Now, here I've made this terrible mistake of just letting these guys chase me all the way around. When I finally get a brain and decide to turn and burn on them, it's far too late. And then the Phantom gives me some cheeky R1 spam to make fun of my playstyle. Fuck off, dude. It's hard when there's 2 people, you fucking idiot. So anyway, the Obscuring Ring did me nothing in that invasion. You might have seen at the very beginning of that invasion, I switched over to the Silver Cat and the Obscuring Ring. Those ring swaps cost me because my damage wasn't as good as it could have been if I'd been wearing, you know, the Hunter Ring for the added dex. This is a level 60 character, by the way. So, you know, an extra 5 dex on a level 60 character, that adds up. That's a lot of extra damage. But being chased through the streets of Irithyll in a 2v1 got me absolutely murdered. And that wasn't because of anything they did. It was because it was just, I was too slow to turn around and be aggressive. As you can see here, just being aggressive in these sort of situations will really buy you more time than running will. Just turning around and hitting them a few times, because nobody wants to get hit 4 or 5 times. So what you do is, you just turn around and you give them some R1 spam, just a big turn and burn, and you're good to go. Now the problem is getting to a position where you're not so low on health that the turn and burn isn't going to kill you if you end up making a trade. Now in this situation, there you can see the Aldrich Faithful shows up, and that separates the crew. So the turn and burn here is much easier to get. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to show you how a good teammate plays. Now here you can see this dude. He googled his build, and he knows that he's supposed to Dark Infuse that scimitar. But here's why these kind of people, they're hiding behind a good build. Just absolutely cannot hit the broadside of a barn with that thing. And then when he gets outspaced, he immediately realizes his mistake, goes back to the straight sword, but by this time it's too late. I've got a good teammate showing up, and it's all downhill from here. This becomes like one of the easiest things in the world to win. Good work, Goof. But yeah, like, that was a situation where a lot of other invaders would have started throwing out, if they were in my position, they would have started throwing out R1s. There was no reason to do that. I was going to let that Phantom keep coming in towards me because I knew that Goof was also going to be smart and slowly come in and take the backstab. Calculated pressure, meticulous pressure, slow, constant pressure. That's all it takes. Not this balls to the wall, all, volume up to 11 kind of pressure. You don't need that kind of shit. It's never in your best interest as an invader because you've got limited Estus and friendly fire turned on. Two things that the scrub side of the team battle, they don't have to concern themselves with that. The host, his phantoms, the blues, none of them have to concern themselves with it, which is why it's so much more difficult for the invaders, because you have to learn the proper way to apply pressure. And now the Phantom is already halfway on his way back by the time I find the host, but Goof has been dealing with him, so we should be okay. Now, one very huge difference. All right, Goof is the man, right? Me and Goof have been working as a team for the better part of this video, and you can see how two invaders who know each other, or at least understand how invasions work, you can see how that benefits us. While I was fighting the host, and the host was getting a very good backstab on me, Goof was casting heal, staying out of my way, and I'm staying out of his, right? And then here comes the Aldrich Faithful to chuck Chaos Bed Vestiges, the scrubbiest fucking stupid host spell in the fucking game, and he doesn't cast any other spell. That's it. Watch Goof, Lightning Arrow, boom. Who did that hit? The guy he was aiming at, and that was all. Because Lightning Arrow is a good spell. It hits one person. It's small. It's not going to do half my health if it hits me instead of the guy you're aiming at. Stop using Chaos Bed Vestiges. Stop trying to apply pressure this way. Constant pressure. Meticulous, calculated pressure. One in, one out. So that you can't hit each other and do half of each other's fucking health with one mistimed spell. You make the invasion harder than it has to be. Limited Estus and friendly fire. Those are the two obstacles that invaders face in group invasions, right? So don't add to that by throwing the biggest goddamn spell in the game and costing other invaders their Estus with the friendly fire. That's stupid. Like this Phantom. Can't get over the fact that he fucking lost an invasion. You suck, dude. Get off it. Later, y'all.